I'm here to talk briefly about Apple's log. This is the binary that Apple released with Sierra, and it interacts with the new unified logging format. But first, I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about a basic human struggle that we all deal with, everybody in this room, on a day-to-day basis. And that is the struggle between minimalism and too much information. Historically, computers have played this out on a grand scale, given the simple origins and the current massive modern computing world that we have surrounding us right now. But computers are kind of boring for this topic, so I thought we would take a look at another field of study from which we can derive some insight, and that is literature. So Hemingway is one of my favorite authors. He has a way of boiling a sentence down to its bare form. He calls this the iceberg theory, or the theory of omission. He believed that his work derived implicit meaning rather than feeling the need to show the surface value of every theme. There's a contest out there known as the Hemingway Challenge, and the trick is you have to write an entire novel in 6 words. It's based on these 6 words from Hemingway: for sale, baby shoes never worn, which is seen as a canonical example of the Hemingway form. A funny aside, about 10 years ago, I entered a Hemingway contest and won tickets to the Bumbershoot Music Festival in Seattle. I always assumed that was a pretty low bar year for them, but to this day, that's still the greatest crowning achievement of my life. At the other end of the spectrum, we have the vast vocabulary of Irish novelist James Joyce. This is a man who never met a sentence fragment that he was not willing to compound. He never met an aspect of consciousness that he did not want to stream. His writing at times feels like an encyclopedia written as poetry. So with these 2 examples, we can see that literature gives us, provides a dynamism in how information is created, delivered, and understood. So bringing this back to logging, up until Sierra, Apple used the ASL or syslog logging format, which essentially meant writing out to file. To preserve resources, disk space, etc., this meant developers tended towards the minimalist side of providing information in their applications. However, with unified logging and its new binary format, Apple is kind of encouraging developers to channel their inner Shakespeare a little bit and let the words just flow. And they provide us a tool to interact with these logs, which is called log. This binary can be used to capture or stream or show logs or save them for later analysis. You can pluck logs directly from current time frame or from points in the past as well. There are many options available to the log binary. It's fairly well documented on the developer site in the man page. For the purposes of this quick talk, I am just going to discuss a few options. The show command allows you to query logs for specific categories or predicates in their phrasing. You can customize the output. You can present the output in a variety of formats. In this example, we're looking for the word shutdown. We're displaying the info log level and looking in the last 12 hours of log gathering. Here we're using the debug log level, displaying the log output in JSON format, and looking at an entire week's worth of logs. And finally, here's an example of returning logs, in this case related to the Finder. And we want to specify a start date and end date from which to gather the logs. You can tell it that you want to start at 6 o'clock in the morning and end at 9 o'clock in the morning. And you can also save these files out, or the output for further analysis. But pulling logs from the past is not the only thing that we want to do. We also want to be able to view logs in real time. And sometimes, in those cases, you just go with the flow and become one with the universe, especially if you're looking at Open Directory D logs. The stream command is similar to show. The difference is it will display logs in real time. To continue the theme with the Finder, in this example, we're streaming info level logs related to the Finder and showing it as JSON output. Here we're using the timeout value to limit the stream to 1 hour, so it'll stop after that amount of time. And finally, we can look at the activity in the syslog format as well, changing the log level to activity, or the type to activity. And again, this provides us with tons of options. It's very customizable to be able to go back and pull logs from cache and also to stream logs in real time. There's also a log collect argument, which is explicitly for gathering logs for later analysis, and it saves to a format that console app can open and view. So whether you're monitoring the drip, drip, drip logging of a process or drinking from the fire hose, Apple's log should have you covered. In fact, you could possibly maybe say it's indeed better than bad. It's kind of okay. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Stick around. I'm very excited to announce that Ed is going to be reading excerpts of my autobiography. Coming up right after this.